Active, that's the key, isn't it? And what about, so we talked about a little bit about politics, and you've obviously, as you say, you've been watching it for a long period of time. To me, and this is just my perception, it feels like in the last 5 to 10 years, things have really slipped in terms of the push from the left. We seem to be now talking about things that I never thought we'd talk about in politics. Some of the gender stuff, some of the things that kids are being taught in schools. But there is a theory that the long march through the institutions is kind of well and truly almost at the end of its tether. How do you see that? Is it my imagination, or are institutions really reeling from some of this ideology?
Well, there are lots of things today, Alex, which I don't believe would have been credited a decade or so back. I sometimes talk about peak stupidity, and when I'm casting around for illustrations of peak stupidity, I think of the climate cult, I think of the recent virus hysteria, I think of the gender fluidity push, I think of the magic pudding economics, and in particular, I think of the cultural self-loathing which today afflicts countries like Australia, which is so unjustified, and yet it is so prevalent. I was sitting next to a very young person the other day at an event, and she was talking about her schooling, and she said, look, she very much got the message from her quite good private school education that Australia was a fundamentally illegitimate society, given that we were founded by the dispossession of the Indigenous people, and we've proceeded on in a racist, sexist, homophobic, etc. way. Now, I wouldn't say that everything about our past or our present is perfect, but I would say that our country has never been less racist, and I would say that the story of Australia is one of constant progress towards a better future. And the fact that hundreds of thousands of people are desperate at any one time to become Australians, most of them people from non-English speaking backgrounds, suggests to me that this is a very attractive place to live, and that people think we're pretty damned good. I just wish we could see more of that ourselves.
Yeah, I agree with you on that 100%. And it is a phenomenon that's across the West, though, isn't it? We see the same phenomenon, this kind of culture of demonising a supposed colonialised past. What do you put it down to? Is it a cultural trend, or is it a broader push, or is it the long march?
Well, you're right, Alex, that the long march of the left through the institutions has contributed. But I think there are more basic factors at play. I think that our own innate decency has in some ways got the better of us. We have been too polite to push back against people who are speaking what we know to be folly, but because we maybe feel a bit guilty about things in the past, maybe feel that we don't want to be too aggressive or upsetting to people, we acquiesce in things which, frankly, we shouldn't have acquiesced in. Now, I absolutely accept that we have to be respectful to minorities. We have to be respectful to divergent viewpoints. We've got to appreciate that everyone comes at things from their own perspective, and they're all human beings that we have to treat fairly and decently. But we also have to engage in the contest of ideas, because if we abdicate from the contest of ideas, well, bad ideas will flourish. And I think that's the difficulty that we've got at the moment. A lot of arrant nonsense is out there,